So I've been talking about positioning quite a bit lately. And another phrase, another term you could use is personal branding. And this is how you're seen in the market, especially in comparison to the other people in your marketplace, whatever it is. If it's tennis instruction, if it's meditation instruction, whatever it is, there's going to be other people that are publishing, other, I guess you could say competitors. I don't love to use the word competitor because I think of people as, or other companies as being partners and possible future partners more than competitors. But that being said, there are certainly going to be other people that are selling in your marketplace. And your positioning is how people think of you compared to the competition, compared to the other people, compared to the other choices in the marketplace. And whether you go about defining your positioning and your personal branding or not, you've got it. And when you are first starting out, one of the things you really want to, you want to get that position. You want strong position. You want to be seen as a go-to leader, a trusted authority. You know, these days, you know, the idea of a personal brand might sound a little crazy, but like back when I was growing up, there was 3 TV stations. There was 3 choices if you're going to go watch TV anywhere, if you're going to watch video anywhere. Of course, that soon became 50 cable channels and 500 cable channels, and now uncountable YouTube channels. So every one of those YouTube channels has a little positioning. How are they seen? What do they represent? And so when you're starting out in business, if you're already established, you really have to think hard about your positioning and what it says about you and the clients it attracts and attracting the clients you want. But when you're first starting out, I talked about this a few weeks ago. I have a friend who's just starting out. He's in the home beer brewing market. And he's someone, you know, he's not a big celebrity at all, but he's been someone who's been brewing his own beer for a long time and doing a very good job. I've had some of it. It's very, very good. And in addition, he is also a brewer at one of the top breweries in Colorado. And Colorado's got a very competitive market for microbrews. And so even though he might not be walking around thinking, I've got this great expert positioning, he has the seeds of it. He has the seeds of that positioning in this, first of all, in his personal experience, but a lot of people have personal experience. But not a lot of people are professional brewers at a top-notch brewery in a very competitive geographic region. And so that is just, right there is the seeds of being able to start to really build positioning. He can borrow the positioning from the brewery that he's an employee at and he's been working at because they have positioning in the whole microbrew market. And he can borrow that positioning because he's an employee. So a lot of times when you're starting out, you are borrowing the position of someone, of a friend of yours, of a place you worked, of a past position you've had, of something that you've done, and you're taking that positioning and using it to enhance your positioning. And then as you go forward, everything you say and you do either increases that positioning or decreases that positioning. And I'll give you an example. I've never talked about this publicly, but 10 years ago, when how do I put this? When the market of online entrepreneurial education was dominated by men, by males, thankfully that's changed. And there's so many great female leaders in this space. But back then it was a very male-centric thing. And one of the leaders in the market rented the Playboy Mansion, and he put on a great big party. And he invited a lot of the top people in the market, including, he invited me. And I had looked at that, I'm like, well, that could be cool. I've never been to the Playboy Mansion. What would that be like? But then I thought about it, whereas, you know, half of my market at least is female, and they might not appreciate seeing photos of me at the Playboy Mansion. And so I had to think about, do I go and hang out with all these other so-called experts? Do I rub elbows with them? Do I go on this experience that probably be a once-in-a-lifetime experience that was probably something from my dreams when I was 14 years old? Or do I think about my positioning and the people I'm serving and how I will be perceived to those people by those people. And so I ended up turning that down because it just didn't fit my positioning or my branding. So everything you're doing, everything you say, all the emails you send are either building up the positioning, and you have to think about what do I want my positioning to say about me. You know, I want to be seen, like for me, I want to be seen as a leader. I want to be seen as someone that's helping entrepreneurs. I want to be seen as someone who's very human and humanistic and cares for people. So as you move forward, you are going to start to accrue this positioning or this personal branding, if you will. I think the terms are very interchangeable. And you have to think about what position you want and who do you want to attract, and then make sure that everything you do to the greatest extent possible is congruent with that positioning. So I'm Jeff Walker. Wherever you're watching this, scroll down, leave a comment for me, and let's go get them this week.